Introduce you the staff. Here we have our Chief Publicity Officer, Honey.
I'm the guy who has all the Facebook posts and emails.
And Chief Marketing Officer, Yanling. And we also have our Chief Treasurer, Du Wei. They are going to be the mentors during this workshop. And if you have any problems, you can just ask them. They can solve them for you. And today we are going to cover a workshop about game makers. This is the main page for GameMaker. I wish that you who have already came to the last workshop, I already have the idea about what kind of game you want to make. And these are one of the first, this workshop is the first of the series to teach you how to make it real. And this is the main page of GameMaker. You can click download here free. And also the installer is here. And the installer is also included in the resource folder. You can download it from our Facebook page. Come in, please. Come in. And in the assets folder, we have these files. If you have haven't installed GM Studio already, so you can use this installer to install them. And after you install the GameMaker Studio, you can open up the Project 1 folder. And here is the project for a GameMaker file. You can double click it and open the GameMaker file. And later, please not play around with it. This one is a folder I have prepared for you. Later, for you to follow on what I'm going to do. I'm going to start from the scratch, but you don't have to follow the first few steps. And this file is prepared for you to follow to follow me in the halfway. But if you want to play around with the project, you can double click the project 2. This one is a project I have already finished for this workshop, and it contains the full information inside. All the sprites and all the assets are already created for you. You can just play around with it to see what the objects and sprites and other assets are set in the end. So, and you can see this file. This is okay. I will introduce it later. All the other stuff you can find it in README. And I'm going to declare that all these assets are prepared by our ex-president Sandra and me. So, yeah. By the way, I'm the president. I just forgot. And you are allowed to use these files to create a game of yourself, and also distribute it to your friends to share it with them. But you are not allowed to put it on any public platforms. But you can if you join us. After you join us, we can also provide you with more assets and even how to make them. But this one is, I think this one is mostly covered in the fourth workshop. But I'm not. But these assets are already prepared for you, so you can use it for today's workshop. And GameMaker is a game engine, very impressive in terms of it does not require any coding background. In other words, you does not need any single line of code to make a game. The game may not be very attractive, and it is free. It may not include too many assets. There is a upper limit as 20 assets, but you can create a game and test it very simply. I'm going to teach you how to make a full game, a platformer, throughout these 2 hours. And but it's not only a tool for the newbies. Most of the senior gamers also use it because you can use it for game designers. You can use it to test your game ideas, and for the programmers, there are a lot of prototypes to do, and most of them are done on GameMaker. To tell you more about it, most of the game design or game development courses in the US are asking their students to use GameMaker. Now we are going to introduce you the free version for GameMaker Studio. GameMaker Studio is actually, by the way, GameMaker Studio is only for Windows. But GameMaker is not. GameMaker also have a Mac version. If you want to use GameMaker, you can. If you are using a Mac OS, you can download the GameMaker. I cannot remember what's the newest version, but you can find it on the main page. But the GUI is slightly different. But we are using Game Studio here, so let's get started. You don't need to follow at this part, so you can just continue installing your GameMaker. And I'm going to create a new one to teach you from scratch. Let's call it GameCraft. And click create. Then you have a brand new game. I'm going to introduce you all the icons here. The first one is create a game. Second one is opening an existing game and save the game. These three, you all know, I hope you all know what it does. And here is create a executable version. Once you click on it, if you have a full developed game, it will just compile the game for you and create an executable file. This, I'm going to show you. This is okay. You can see when I click on it, there is some options here. You can save it as a Windows installer or a single runtime executable. Most of the time we extract it like this. But if your game is really large or huge, it will make it very slow to run it. But this installer would install the game in the player's computer, so it won't be very. And this one is the zip file. I never tried it before. So let's see what it looks like. You can find it in the assets folder. This is called GameCraft 2004 Project 2. This is exactly what this one is exported. And when you double click it, you can find the game. You can try it by yourself. And now let's get continue our introduce to these icons. Here is run game. Run game in debug mode. Run game is running comparing the game as current settings, and it's going to show you directly what the game looks like. But this one, run game in debug mode, it is running in the for this game, it's going to debug it and run the game with the script. This one we are not introducing it because today we are not going to cover anything about the script programming, which means here we have the stop web server, and it also stops all the games is running, or it also clears the half compiled game. And this one is not required also. And here are some of the icons which are creating the assets and creating new assets. I'm going to read their names and introduce the ones we are going to use in this workshop. The first one is create a sprite. Sprite is a sort of pictures or a set of pictures which can be put in a series, and the assets could be used as object. Object should have or should not have an image, or you can set the sprite to be invisible also. But we are going to introduce that in more details. And the second one is the create a song. Sound effect and background music are put in this kind of assets. Here is background. We're not using it. This one is using in creating the rooms. Later we will see. And create the path. Create a script. Path is how the object moves, but we usually don't use it when we are not using script because it's really hard to control. And here we have create a script, create a shader. Both of them we are not covering. Create a font. This one is not it's not usually used also. And this timeline is we also not going to cover. And this create an object. Object is I think we'll cover it in more details later. Create a room. This is the rooms. This is a window where your or a stage where your characters are playing around. And all these others are not useful. So let's start creating our first sprite. After clicking on this button, we see the name of the sprite. We call it Scott Stand Right. Scott is actually our hero, and I'm going to load a sprite from the assets folder. I'm putting it on the desktop, and you can find it yourself. Don't try to follow, I will be very fast, because I'm actually trying to give you an experience rather than in details. Because also the video record for today, and also I prepared 2 video records before the workshop. Later we will distribute it after the workshop. So you can follow one step by one step at your home. And here, open the texture. I find Scott stand to the right. And here we can see modify mask. This mask means this black shadow. For example, when I click full image, you see that the full image is covered by this shadow. And when we use this shape rectangular, and it's covering only the rectangular region of the character, this is very useful. I'm going to cover why we are going to settle it like this, and all the other stuff you can just leave them as default. This one, origin, which means which are the center of this sprite. When you click the center will be set to the default center of this sprite, and it is useful in some of the actions later I will introduce. And click OK. So that your first sprite is set up, and I'm going to load some more sprite. Always check the mask in case there is some very weird default settings. Okay, let's do something different. Here, we are going to create a dynamic sprite, which are showing the characters moving. We are going to load. I'm going to choose multiple sprites here and click open. Now, you see that here is only one image, but when you click edit sprite, you see multiple ones. You can see the button here, show preview, and it's going to show how the character moves. In this part, it's going to show you how fast it moves, and the default setting is 30, because 30 looks the same as how the game is running. Here you can, but it's not move very smoothly. Most of the time, I will copy this one and paste it, and drag it to the and put it in the back. Here we have 2 standing still image. Make it more image. And click OK. Save it. Check the mask and put the origin in center. Okay, let's create our first object. The object is called obj underscore Scott. You have to make sure the name is different from the sprite you created. And here you can choose the sprite for this object. I'm choosing stand right for the initial sprite for this object. Later it can be changed by other actions. So you may ask, what's actions? Here you can see there are 2 sections. This one is called events, and this one is called actions. Events is actually the stuff is kept checking by the checked by the game, and once the Once once the event happened, then the actions in the event would be executed. So let me show you how it happens. You can add an event with all these different kinds. For example, create, destroy, alarm, mouse, keyboard. And these events have an order. When you create a one, of course the create one is the first one to run, and it will only be run. It only be run once, as long as the object is created. You can choose multiple actions here in the right side. You see that there is move, main, control, score. I'm going to introduce you the ones I use in details. When you want to create a I'm going to create the first action, the first event. Let's call it step, begin step. It means that this event will be checked every time, every step. Step is actually this look at the whiteboard. Step is actually a time period where the game is by default I think it is 30 times 1 second, and you can change it by script, but we are not going to change it for now. And when you do this, every step there is going to be several moves, and it's going to be checking the begin step. And step in the middle, and end step. You can find these events in the step. When you add event, click on the step. You see that there are step, begin step, and end step. That's how it happens. And to be more detailed, there is going to check different actions between them. But how do you judge what's the order of it? I don't want to introduce them in details because you don't need it. When you create a different step, create different events, it will be automatically sorted in this events section. So it means that when you create multiple events, it will automatically sorted by the order. And I'm going to give it a, so at every begin step, I'm going to check the gravity for the character. You can find it in the move tab. I think this one is the gravity. Set gravity. Can you see it? Can you see the icon? When you want to set the set this action, you drag it into the section action section. You use the direction as 0, gravity as 1. Okay. How do you judge the direction? You can see that the arrow is down, so it means that when the direction is 0, it's pointing to the ground. Also, we are not going to have the gravity all the times. We're going to use control to check whether the character is touching any other objects. If it's touching the ground, it means that we need to cancel the gravity or to simulate that the character is standing on the ground. I hope you. I'm going to introduce you some more details about this checking, because check is actually quite the same as if and else in programming languages. This one is actually a condition called whether a position is collision free. It means that it's going to check the object in current collision, in current place is collision, having collision with others or not. Collision means touching with the other object, and it's actually if something. This is a statement in programming, the most programming language. If there is going to put in something in this, it's saying that position is collision free. So for this case, is collision free is put in this brackets, and so you are going to do some actions in between. For else is that if this does not happen, if this is not fulfilled, so something else will happen. You can find all this in control tab. You can drag it out else. This one in others. And this is the start block and end block. You see that the statement will be put in between. And you see that when the position is collision free, I'm going to give it a gravity. If it is not free, I'm also going to set another gravity, which means set the gravity to 0. To simulate that there is no gravity, means that you are standing on it, you are against the gravity. You can click OK to save your object. Now I'm going to create a new room for the characters. Click on this button. Is create a room. You can click the settings to set the size of your room. I'm going to use a very small room for now. I call it play game room. Everyone following? In this, then I'm creating a new room here. You can click on this minimap to drag the view, and click on the objects. You can see here is our hero squad. And click on this button. You can choose multiple objects you created. Now we choose this object squad and click it here. It means that there is a character inside the room. And click on this, to save the room. Now I'm going to create this run game. Click the run game. So it will compile the game for me. Oh. Sorry, wait a minute. You see that you saw that the character was moving to the right because I didn't set the direction to the correct value. I remember that now GameMaker is setting all the direction to the same axis, which means that 0 means pointing to the right, and 90 means pointing up, 180 means pointing left, and 270 means pointing down. So I'm going to change it to 270. Click OK. Don't forget to change the other one. And this time I click run game again. So it's moving correctly. Now I'm going to create some floor for the hero to stand on. Let's load another process. Create an object called obj_block. Use the block as its track and click solid here. We don't need any event for the block, so we just save it as this. Let's open our game room again and put this block under our hero to be less. And save it. Now you can see this. It's still dropping off. Anyone can tell me why. The reason is that at the time the character is in collision with the block, I canceled the gravity, but I didn't cancel the speed. It's still having the same speed and moving forward. So I'm going to create another event called collision. This one checks whether this object is colliding with another object or not. Let's say this character is in collision with the object, the block. Here, we can say the set speed vertical to 0. You can see that when we modify this speed, there is no direction because that is only modifying the vertical speed, and you see the arrow is pointing downward, which means that if it's positive, the speed is pointing to the downward, and if it's negative, it's pointing upward. So we set it to 0 and click OK. For another trick, we have this move to contact. With the setting as this, direction, and maximum is 30. Move it to the move it up as the first action to perform. This one is actually helping your object, helping your character to move smoothly to contact with the object. For the normal case, when some very weird bug happens, if you run your game without this action, before the character contact with the block, it will just pause for a while and drop off. So with these two settings, you can see the hopefully you can see character standing on the block. Yeah. After setting the gravity and rooms, I'm going to cover how to make our character moves. Now it's time to add some event to move keyboard events. Let's say keyboard press and keyboard release. These are the keyboard events we usually use. When you click on keyboard press, you can choose left, right, up, down. Let's use right first. When you click, what happens when you click on? We can imagine first what will happen when you click on the right arrow. It means that as long as we correct, our character should move to the right, right? So after we release the keyboard right arrow, the character should stop moving right away. So let's add another event called key release right at the same time. And let's modify the actions. Here we have a speed horizontal as 5. And when we release the right, we will set the speed to 0. You see that it's moving forward and dropping down. Also, we need to change the sprite from standing still to moving to the right. You can find this in main 1 tab. Here is the change sprite button. Drag it here. It's going to be changed to scroll move right. Just leave these two as default. After you release, you need to change it back to to standing still to red. Okay, please allow me to finish as creating another event as left key. You see that after I created these two, they are automatically sorted. So for this, the speed horizontal, we are going to set it as -5 because it's moving to the left. You can see on the icon, the arrow is pointing to the right. Our character should be able to move left and right. Okay, the next moving is jump. This time I'm going to add an event for key press up. Set the speed workout to -10, which means the speed is pointing up. This one is actually quite different from what it looks like in other games. Because I'm not limiting how many times you can jump at one time. But you can after learning this workshop. Let's move on. To create an enemy. You can use this surprise, which I have already loaded for you. You see that it's moving here because it is readable by GameMaker. Click open. And put it in the center. Modify the mask. Let's create an enemy object. Let the enemy face left first. Add an event. Every time, as long as the enemy is created, I want it to move to the left. So -10. And we add one enemy and see what happens in the room. What will happen in this case? So the enemy will move directly to the left along the screen. Because we have no limit and I'm very lazy, I don't want to create a gravity for this object who are moving in a very small range. So I just create another object. Sorry, maybe I create a sprite first. Okay. I load it from textures. create a new object called object boundary. I'm not going to make it visible. It's going to be invisible in the room. Let's put two invisible boundaries in left and right and save it. Now we change our enemy. As long as it's in collision with our boundary, it's going to reverse its horizontal speed. There's no settings because it's just reversing its horizontal speed. You can see that you can see that after setting it like this, the enemy is going to move around within the boundaries. But we are going to see, we are going to make the next move is let the enemy to turn around, not moving with the same direction. So one thing that we need to take into consideration is that the reason why we choose the center as the origin of this sprite. You can click on the image and drag it around. But if we, let's say we put it at the left, it means that at the time it turns around, it will change the sprite according to the origin. Because two different sprites are when the sprite is changing from one to the other, there should be some origin to make sure that where the new image is located. So we put it in center, and this one is also in center. So it will look like turning around, not like teleporting. But another question was raised: how we see which direction we are facing? Because it's only every time we touch the boundary, we are going to change the horizontal direction. We don't know which direction we are facing to, whether left or right. So now we are going to teach you how to create a variable to keep track of this. In the control one, you can see down here, there is variables. The first icon is set variable. Set variable, if you know any programming language, set variable is actually equal to creation and assignment. Which means that if there is no such variable, it will create it for you. Let's say direct, and we use 0 to stand for left. So when the enemy is created, it's facing to left. And here we can use the second icon called test variables to see whether our direct is equal to 0 or not. The second one is the value. The third one is the operation. You can see here are some more operations options like equal to, less than, greater than, less than, or equal to, greater than, or equal to. So we choose equal to. Put some blocks, else, 2 more blocks. So if the direction is equal to 0, we are going to change the variable direct to 1. And if it's not facing to left, which means it's facing to right, we are going to change it to facing to left, which means the value will be changed to 0. Don't forget to change the image. Yeah. So now let's do let's start our first following session. I hope that all of you have already installed the GameMaker. So please open this project one by clicking on this button. Click on this icon. After you open this folder, your game your game should be actually the same as mine now. Project 1. Everyone open already? Anyone having any problems? So I'm going to get started. The last move of the first half, we're going to create a bullet to attack our enemy. And this is a very good sum up for all the stuff you have already learned by the first half. You're going to use all the knowledge I have already taught to you. There's nothing new. Barely nothing new. So, it does not look very the same. I haven't created a surprise. So maybe I will just use the project 1 at the same time with you. So now it should looks the same. At least the game looks the same. Right? Let's create a new object called leg. Right. The bullet also has directions, and it does not change directions. So we created 2 different objects for them. Choose a sprite for bullet right. So you are following? If you cannot follow, just ask me to pause. At the event, we need to think before move. And every time we design a new game, we need to think before move, because some of the settings may validate what your game look like. In this time, we're going to think about it. What are the cases that the bullet will disappear? Anyone? Hit the enemy. Yeah, the first one is hit the enemy.
Is the boundary?
Oh, yeah, of course. But it will automatically disappear in this case. So we won't set up for it. Any others?
Too far.
Yes, too far, or is existing too long. And the third one is in collision with a wall. So let's do this. The first one is collision with the wall. You can find the destroy action in main 1 tag and drag it here. It is applying to itself, so no settings, just click OK. Add another event when it's collision with our enemy. It will also disappear, destroy itself. So the third one is existing too long. By time is create, don't forget to give it a speed. Let's say 10. Because it's moving to red, so this one is positive number. And we are going to set a clock to see how long it has already existed. In this time, I'm going to set it as 20. What does it mean? It means that is 2/3 seconds. Because as I said to you, there is 30 steps in 1 second. So this one is the number of steps I've set it to 20. And at the event, here is the alarm event. Here is 12 alarm prepared for you. Choose the alarm, you set it here. You set alarm 0 to 20. And alarm 0 event means the alarm 0 is already 20 steps have already passed. Now this event will be triggered. Find the in main 1 tag destroy itself. Now a bullet facing to the right is created for you. Let's see how we send out this bullet. In our scope, we are going to add an event key press, which is space. So once more, we need to think before we create. In the logic of games, most of the time we are not shooting out the bullet by pressing it. We are triggering the bullet by releasing it. So in the maybe not every game, but for our game, you see that our character is having a guitar. So as long as we press the space, our character will be playing the guitar. And when we release the space, the bullet will be sent out. So when we press space, we're going to see, let's go to control and test our variables. Remember that our character, as the same as our enemy, have this variable called direct, seeing where it is facing to. I think there's something we could. Oh. Sorry, there is one difference between the two objects. This one we are using 0 to represent facing to right. Please keep it in mind. So you drag out some blocks and else to see what it reacts as long with different directions. Come to main 1 tag and drag out the sprite change. We change it to Scott attack right. If it's facing left, we change it to Scott attack left. Everyone following? Do you need any pause? So let's try this. Always remember to click save before you run your game. You see that? Oh, sorry. When you press space, it will be changed to this attacking. It's playing the guitar, but it didn't stop as long as I release it. So now you can do it. So that's my fault. You change it to Scott stand right. Oh, I'm sorry. You do not need to change it. It didn't stop playing because we haven't added event of release space. Let's add it now. Click on this key release and space, press space here. We also need to check the direction. When the direct is equal to 0, it means it's facing to right. So we change the sprite to standing to right. Click on OK. And else means it's attacking to the left. So now we change Scott to Scott stand left. Click OK to save. You see it's playing to the right. Once I release, it stops playing. When it is facing the right, left, it will do the same thing. So now, we send out the bullet at this release. Now you can see in main1 type, objects. And this one is called create instance. You drag it out and choose an object called bullet red. And click on OK. No, this X change it to X, Y change it to Y. And I'm going to show you why. Okay. Now I'm going to show you two principles, which is actually very different from the programming school. Because you see that under the object section, there is such action called create instance. It means that object is actually a setting. It's not anything real. It's just what created. It just holds a series of settings of yours. And every time you create an object, it's called it instance. And this one is what exists in the rooms. So actually, they are used by different names in programming. This one is called class. This one is called. Some for students who already have the idea of object-oriented programming, you can understand it like this. But object and instance is what called in GameMaker. Also for this one, X and Y, this is a variable within the character, within our hero score. X means the X value within the score is referring to the position of our character. So set it at X and Y means the bullet is created at the position of our character. Okay. Now the object bullet is created, but we didn't create the bullet left, so we can only send out bullet right. You see that it disappears when it touches the enemy. But when we are facing left, we are sending nothing. Create another object. And change the sprite to bullet left. You can see here, double click the object bullet right. You can see all these events. You can follow the same settings as add event, collision, object, small wall, which is here. In line 1, you can destroy it. Collision with enemy, destroy itself. When it is created, in move, we give it a horizontal speed as -10. Find the timing icon in main 2 tab. Everyone following? The time limit is at 20. In that event, alarm 0. just destroy itself. After all these are created, click OK to save. Now we can modify our character again. When it is releasing the space, when it is facing to left, here in main1 objects, you create an instance, bullet left, at the same position as our character. What if I key in 0 and 0 here? 0 and 0 refers to the position at your room. So XY is actually the position of your character in the room. Click on OK. And save. Almost done. You can send objects to the left now. So anyone know what's left? Yeah, the enemy should have some reaction when the bullet hits it. So double click the object enemy, add a new event, collision with the bullet. So let's choose red first. We are going to make it die. In main1, you find the destroy itself. And that's not very cool because it is dying without any sound. So we create a new object. Leave it here. You don't need to save it for now. And create a new object called object lead. Using the sprite I've already created for you. Here, the blood one. This is a new object called object bleed. OBJ underscore BLED. This blood is doing nothing, but we still need to add an event, which means that when the enemy dies, it won't bleed until forever. So we create a clock for it. In main2, what number of steps is up to you. I'm going to set 10. And when the alarm 0 is triggered, we delete this blood itself and click on OK. So every time the enemy is hidden by the bullet, we are going to create an object bleed at the same place of enemy. Remember last time in our character object, we are using X and Y. That one was the position of our character. But this time the S1 is the position of this instance, this enemy object. Okay, save it. Remember to drag it to the top because you want this this enemy object still exists before the create instance is triggered. Okay. Die. Okay, so this is, I hope all of you have already followed what I taught. And this is actually the first half. And I regard this as complete. Maybe not complete because the object enemy is not reacting to the bullet to the left. But it's almost done, almost complete version for a platformer. This sort of game is called platformers. And now you can start editing your room, create to key in more blocks, key in more enemies, maybe only one character. but they are going to play. You are going to start level design in the second half of this workshop. And here is 5 minutes break. So you can go to toilet or you can start designing your game yourself. Now we have our very simple room here. We are going to start our design of this level by changing the room. We need a larger room with more stories. So I will say 190 to 10, a very large one. You can see it in the minimum. And click on the wheels. Wheel is what you use and what you will see in your game. If I'm not using wheels, you see that this room would be what the window looks like. How large this size of this room would be exactly the size of your window. And we don't want this to happen, so we use this wheel. You can see the on the tag views, and here is the button enable the use of views. And click on this visible when room starts. Change the size of the room, the view here. We change it to the original room size, 640 and 480. Here we can see the port on screen. Sorry. We change it the same to same size. You see that this here is X and Y. It's because that the view also got its own position, which is the left up corner. And I'm going to change it to 200. You can see that here we can see a rectangular in the room. This is the view. And here, the third one is object following. It says that our view is going to follow our character, so we choose object Scott. Here is two variables called H border and V border. We change it to 230, 320, and 240. The reason I'm changing it to this is because these two numbers means that when the view will be updated, if the character is if the character is 240 to the upper bound or lower bound, the view will be updated. And when this is changed to half of the size of the view, it means that the view will be strictly following our character. Unless the view has reached the border of the room, it will keep on the corner or on the side. So let's try this by saving it. You see that the view is moving with our characters now. And the view is not moving when it reaches the corner. Okay, what's next? I'm going to try to die. Now I'm going to create another room for our character to die. The room, find the room settings. I'm going to change to the same size as the view and call it die room and save it. As long as our character is in collision with our enemy, you can find it in main one called rooms. This is a set of icons. You see previous room, next room, restart room, and different room. I'm going to use different room because you can choose any room you want to go through. And choose die room. Click on OK. So let me explain more to you about the next room and previous room. You can tell you from this. Actually, there is orders in the rooms. Actually, die room is the next room of game room, and game room is the previous room of die room. And by default, when your game starts, you will enter the first room, which is game room, not the die room. So let's try it out. There is nothing inside this die room. But you can see it is a different room. So let's create some buttons for our character to restart. Load the new sprite, restart. Create object. Choose restart sprite. At event, as long as it is clicked by left button of mouse, you can choose mouse and left button. Finally, main one, rooms, different room. We are going to game room. Okay, okay. And put it in die room. After restart. You see that after we click on the restart button, this room is automatically reloaded. It means that the character is going back to the start point. So let's do something very. We create another room called main menu. And put it in the front, which means main menu is what you will enter as long as you start the game. And we create a button to start the game. Here it is. Mouse, center. Okay. Create a object. We use the start sprite. So it's click. It enters the room, enters the game room. Put it in, don't forget to put it in the main menu. You can put it in the middle. Also, we need another. Always think before you move. You need another button to go back to the main menu. Create a thing over there. Now we go to the main menu. Let's go back to the die room. To another button here. Okay. Start, die, and restart. die. Yeah, guess how is that? After dying, I'm going to create some items for our characters to pick. We already have the key icon here in the sprite, so I'm going to just create a new object. Object key is using the sprite we created as it's actually the sprite for boundary. And I'm going to ask you why we need this sprite for boundary. Because it is invisible. Why don't we use nothing as sprite? The boundary as to limit the enemy's movement. Yeah, because that needs to check the collision. Sprite is not only the picture, it also includes a shadow we modified, which is the collision area. Now I'm going to make it visible this time. And there's not really nothing to do, but we are going to set collision with our character. That means that this object is this item is collected by the hero. And every time our enemy dies, I'm going to add another event when it's collision with the. You see that the actions is actually copyable. You can choose multiple of them and right click, copy, and paste them in another event. This could happen in the same object, also in different objects. So we create another in main one. In main one, we create another object item, maybe at the same position. Drag it out, copy, and paste. Now we can collect this item. We need another variable to see how many keys we have. So we use this control variable key to be 0. Okay. Add event. Every time we collision with not boundary. Delete event. Every time we are in collision with the key. In control tab, we are going to change the variable key to 1, but not 1. We are adding 1 to it, so we are going to click on this relative, and the value is 1, which means every time this action is triggered, the value of non-key will be added 1 to it, and if the value is minus, is negative, it means minus 1. Okay, let's save it. Now the item is collected. I'm going to create an NPC which can open the gate to our boss room. So I will create a larger map. You can design your own game by this is called level design, and you can design this by yourself. Let's create more enemies, because the boss room cannot be opened by 1 key. We want 3 enemies inside to provide enough key for us. Don't forget the boundaries. Okay, so now let's create an NPC. Load sprite for NPC. NPC is, by the way, NPC is referring to non-playable character. We use this one. Center. And create object. So at the time our hero is in collision with the NPC, the NPC should say something. Let's say collision with our character. We're going to check whether the character has already collected 3 keys. So the variable will be global for none key. Whether is equal to 3. You can see this global doll. This is actually checking or creating or modifying a global variable. This variable is created by our hero, the Scott, but it can be accessed by our NPC object. So we go back to object. We go back to Scott to change this variable name. This one should be changed to global also. You can try to create a variable called global.key, and then the game would not be able to be compiled because key is a reserved word, which means there is such variables already created for you. But here we are going to use num-key. So remember to change this one also. Now if it's equal to 3, which means it's able to go into the boss room, we're going to use these questions. It's going to ask, it's going to ask the player a question. There's 2 choices, yes or no. So the question is, are you prepared to fight? Yeah, okay. And in main 2, you can see this info. Display message is quite the same, but this one is not asking you anything. You need more key to enter boss room. And we are going to use another move. This one. In jump section, here is jump to position, and this one is jump to start, which means where our character was created. Why am I going to add this one? Because at the time the object is in collision with NPC. It is going to trigger this message, but after the message is closed, the character is going to is still in collision with the NPC. And this event is actually checked every step, which means that you will be asked, you will be shown the same message in the next event, in the next step. And we don't have a boss room to enter for now, so we just leave it like this and try it. Q1 first. Oh, I forgot to put it in the room.
So if I release left, I mean I add 10 to the right. Then nothing worth it. I did out.
Sorry for the debugging, because I think there is something weird happened. It's exactly the same what I did as before. So later you can check yourself, and at least there is going to be a video record in the video. So I have already fixed this, adding some more lines. But here you see that what I did is that I checked whether the global my number of keys is equal to 3 or not. If it's equal to 3, means it's always going to ask the question, why are you ready to challenge the boss? And here is where we add in the go to the next room. And else, we're going to display this message. You need more key to go into boss room. And and the object is going to jump back to the start point. Wait a minute. Let me double check. Yeah, you see this. Don't remember to change this strap to start. You see, I just explained why we need to move our character to the start, right? Because after we have already clicked OK and closed the message, our character is still in collision with the NPC. So we need to put it back to the start. Let's use this jump to the start position and make it applying to another object. It's applying to the object Scott. Yeah, so this one, you're right. Now we have 0 keys. Same happened. But never mind, we abandon this and go back. So this one, you can see the same, exactly same settings. This is object of Scott. We're going to apply this operation to Scott, so it will send Scott back. If it has not enough keys, it will display the message for it, saying that you got not enough keys. Let's try this. You can hear the differences, right? I'm going to cover how to add in the sound effects later today. You need more keys to go back, to go to the boss room. Now it's asking a different question. We click no to go back to the original position. And it is moving like this is because the speed was not changed to 0. We can add this. With collision, in collision with our NDC, we set the horizontal speed to 0. Okay. So now let's move on to drawing. This is a very important part in GameMaker. Now all the sprites we use is within the objects. All the sprites are attached to sprites. Now I'm going to teach you some actions called drawing. In this set of actions, it's going to draw some either sprites or text or health bar without any object. These are just actions. So we start from drawing a health bar for our hero. So in this time, we are going to set our object, our hero's health to 100 from this when it is created. The score, you can find all this in the score tab. The first one is health, set health. You drag it into here, and it is going to set health to 100. You can set it to 100 here. And every time we collision with our enemy, we will change it a little bit. We change these settings to -20, which means I can touch the enemy by 5 times. So here is the health. After minus the health, we're going to check how many health is that. If it's 0, then it will be sent to the fail room, or it will be sent back to the start position. As I said, if we do not do this, after the checking, actually the character is still in collision with our enemy, which means that it will be deducting health for multiple times. Now we can start drawing by creating a new object called object health, but we don't need any sprite. This is a kind of object which are doing some exact work without any sprite. Not like the boundaries, because it needs collision. But this time it needs neither collision or image. So now we're going to add an event called draw. There are all kinds of draws here, but we choose the first one because I think in GameMaker there is only one option called draw. But this one is these things is having different performance, and begin and also specifying the different where the draw is happening. But in GameMaker, by default, the draw is going to happen only after at the end of each step, because you need your object do the actions before it is drawn. So we use draw for now, and you can find in score, in health, you see this draw health. We're going to draw health bar for our hero. You see that I'm keying in obj_score.x. This means that we are calling a variable within another object or instance. So we are going to draw this health in our on top of our character's head. And it will be looks like this. On top of our character. And you can see that there is x1, y1, x2, y2. So let us put in this. So y to be score y plus -25. x2 to be minus 25 also. This one y is minus 35. I'm going to show you how the x dispositions looks like. This is the room, and here is the origin of each room, the left up corner. This means x equal to 0 and y equal to 0. Now I'm going to see the character's position is in his origin, the position of his origin. So now I'm going to settle the x1 to be this point, and y1 to be this point. The position 1, let's say p1 and p2. x1, y1 is for point 1. Sorry. I think it's wrong. Because this one is P1 and this one is P2. Which means x plus 25 and y is x minus 25, I think. Because it's upper than the position of its character's origin and left to the character's position also. And point P2 is the left up corner of this health bar. And let's change the colors. Here you can see the next setting is the back color. We change it to gray. And the bar color is going to be green to red, according to how many health is left. Save it to OK. And now we create a new room called, sorry. Now we go to the game room. And we need to put our health in here. Here is a question mark, but it won't be shown. It's invisible because it has no sprite. Okay, let's try this. There is a health bar on top of our characters. Following it, when we touch, you see that the health is lesser and die. So this time it can hit the enemy by 5 times. So next, I'm going to draw a score for our character. Because the score now is only number of keys, right? I need to allow the players to check how many keys I have from now. Score. There's no sprite also. Let's draw UN. And this time I'm going to draw text. You can find it in draw. Oh, here. You can draw text called number of keys. The x will be u underscore x u plus 5 u y u. This is a global variable, which is the position of your current view. As I said, there is positions for views. So now I save it. I go to the control. Here it allows you to draw your variable. I will say global my number of keys. I will change it to 150. Make sure that it's following the text I just printed. And there is really no tricks. You can just key in different numbers and test it yourself and do that right. Now we should be able to see how many. Oh, sorry. I already know this is not going to work because I didn't put it in game room. Although it's not showing, but we still need to put it inside. Around. Oh, sorry. Here's a typo here. VIEW. We're not using any script, right? But there is a limit because you see that we are setting the health of our character, but we don't need the health of our character in the boss room. In the other hand, we need to track the health of our boss. When we want to kill the boss, we need several hits. But when the boss wants to kill us, it only needs to touch us. So one health is not enough for this case. We need at least 2 health. But the GUI does not allow to achieve us. You can only do it in script. But I'm going to tell you this trick because we don't need the health for our character. So in this time, I'm going to disable the health in character and only show the health for boss. So let's start by creating a new room for boss room. Yeah. So now the boss room does not need to be that large, so we use this size. We put in some blocks. And also two boundaries, some boundaries. These are just in case our boss will return off. And we know, okay. So our boss is not ready yet. So we can only see our character if we enter the boss room. And one trick is that we want to test the boss room, right? We don't want to go through the game room for now. So we just drag the boss room to the front. So we are going to boss room directly when we run the game. Because boss room is the first room. Let's create a boss character. Drag the boss room back and load the boss sprite. Okay, here's another trick. When we want to load a sprite, there is an option here called remove background. As long as you click on it, the white the white space will be considered as background, and it will be removed. When you modify the mask, you can see it's now here. Choose the center also. We put it at around the center. Oh, I see. I have already created it, so I will delete it. At least I have already showed you how to create it. So now you can utilize it to create a new object. You said this is a 20 object, and when I want to create a new one, it will say the free version does not allow you to do this. So we use the last one to create it once. I'm going to do this 2 to minus 5. Collision with the boundary. When it is in collision with the boundaries, I'm going to reverse the speed. And we need a variable to tell what the direction is. So 0 means is facing to left. Check variable direction is facing to left or not. We need blocks and else. Now we can change the spread. If it's facing left, we're going to change it to right. Vice versa. Also, we are going to change the variables. Never forget to change the direction variable. Change the direction 1 in this case. And the boss shouldn't be as simple as the enemy. We shouldn't be very lazy now. And we are going to create physics, gravities for our boss. We can copy it from our scope. Just copy and paste it. And then in collision with block. Okay, we save it. Now let's add our boss into our boss loop. We don't need to put it at the ground. We put it here is okay. Drag boss room to the front and test it. Sorry. I think this happens because that my sprite is not having is not correct. We need to change origin to center, because if the origin is not center, the time it changes is sprite is the sprite the object is still in collision with the boundary, so it will change direction in another time. So after we change it to origin, this won't happen. I'm sorry about that. reason is actually because I need to guarantee that the boss is only in collision with only one boundary at one time. So it's more correctly. It will make yeah. Now let's. The next thing is that we make our boss harder to hit, and we need to give it a clock. And call 0 saying 50. If it is that, every 50 steps, it's going to drag once. I'm going to give it a horizontal speed to minus 10 or minus 8. And another clock. So now you can see a very smart boss. Is jumping easy? Maybe not this low. We let it jump higher. Now we're going to get hit by the boss. Once we are touched by the boss, we are going to go to the fail room directly. But when the boss is in collision with our bullet, we are going to deduct its health. In score, we are going to set the health to 100 at the beginning, and we set the health to minus 10 at one time. And we need to check whether the health value is 0 or not. You can see that now if the health is equal to 0, I'm going to create an object with block and also destroy the instance. And I'm going to copy this into the block. Now let's try to kill the boss. You see that the boss was killed by last 10 hits. It's because that we didn't let the bullet to destroy itself. That means that the boss is hidden by one bullet by multiple times. So we add another event for the bullet to kill itself, which is in collision with the boss. Send to the left bullet. Okay. Now our boss is complete, but we are going to draw the health bar for our boss. In this case, as I said, the health of our NPC, our character is there's no use for it, so we just draw it. So we just modify the draw object health. Okay, this is embarrassing. Actually, it's better to create another draw health for our boss, right? But in this case, we only have 15 objects. Now what we can do is I'm going to use some trick in the checking the rooms. You see that check next. There is no setting here. It's only checking whether there is a next room, or whether this is the last room. When we put our boss room to the last one, this one will say there is no next room, right? So there, if there is a next room, which means that I'm currently in game room, I'm going to draw the health bar for our character. But you can tell when it is one else. I'm going to draw another health bar. This time I don't want the health bar following our character or boss. I'm going to create a large health bar on the top of the screen. Plus 5. Don't forget to change this to 1. The color setting would be the same. Gray at the background. Okay. So let's try this. This time we are putting our boss room back to the end anyway. So we need to select our keys. Yes. Oh, sorry. I deleted the statement for moving to the room. We need to go to the room of boss. Here, right? Oh. I never forgot the ID in the project of drawing. There's some weird bugs because we are not doing all this in script, and this could be fixed by doing it in script. See that health bar is on top of it. Yeah, that's good. This one you need to change it to S1. This one also. And now we need our the last step is after the character dies, we need to create the NPC back to teleport our character back to the start room, to the main menu.